Welcome to the Business Family Marriage Podcast with Tim Smoyer. This is his personal podcast where he shares what he's learning about growing a seven-figure business while also raising 7 children and deepening his relationship with his wife at the same time. He shares what he's learning, what's worked, what hasn't, what he's trying next to grow a fruitful business, family, and marriage. For more on that today, here's Tim.
Hello, parents, business owners, entrepreneurs. Good to see you guys again. It's been a while since I've done a business, family, marriage podcast episode. I think about it often, but don't often get the opportunity to actually sit down and work on this the way that I want to talk about these topics about how business and marriage and family all kind of intersect here together. I'm just sitting out by my pool. There's no kids in it. If you are watching the video version of this YouTube, you can see it's empty. I just want to get outside and been thinking this past couple weeks. By the way, guys, there's been a lot going on, and here in the next few weeks, we are going to have tons of business, family, and marriage topics to talk about. I can't talk about everything that's going on right now, but I'm really excited to dive into a lot of these topics with you guys here pretty soon. But more about that later. What's been going on with us over the past few, what has it been, a few months since I published one of these. We've had a lot going on with the family, a lot going on with the business, and we'll talk more about that, I guess, another time. But right now, the main thing I've been thinking about in terms of business and family and marriage are how we spend time away from those things. So in business, we usually, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, you don't work a 9 to 5. You kind of just work and work and work, and hopefully set good, appropriate, healthy boundaries for not working. But even if you are, one of those people that's got to just always work and work and work, it's healthy to take a break and to get out of the working environment, get out of the office, get out of that physical space, whether it's your house or your home or an office or a place of work, and just leave it behind and go to another space physically, and doing that somehow at the end of every day, end of every work day, reset something in us mentally, right? It kind of is like a okay, I can think about this different. My mind is clear. I'm not as emotionally connected to this thing as I was before. Or it's just, having those moments when we separate ourselves from our work is really healthy. In fact, in the Bible, it talks about a thing called Sabbath, where every 7th day you just take a chill day, you rest, and you just enjoy the fruit of all your labor, the results of everything your work has generated for you and your family and your community and the people around you, and you just get to enjoy it and take that day off. And I remember for me, first time, this isn't a Sabbath episode necessarily, but I remember the first time for me, when I was starting Video Creators, taking a break was hard. I couldn't do it, actually. It wasn't until I read a book called Every Good Endeavor by Tim Keller, where I had a chapter in there about Sabbath, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is one of those things that the Bible talks a lot about, which is the 6th day you rest. It's up there with do not murder, and do not kill, and do not commit adultery, right? It's up there, and it's not something I actually observed or practiced intentionally. So I remember my first time just trying to take a break was, for me, it was in the beginning of Video Creators. I was feeling stressed, I was feeling overwhelmed because I was the only one working in the business, and if I wasn't working, nobody was working. Nothing was getting done, right? So I remember for me, a win for Sabbath was just, could I go 24 hours without checking my work email? That's how it started. And that was so difficult because that whole entire 24 period I'm taking off, my mind's thinking about it and I'm stressing over all the stuff I'm going to be behind on now and everything. And it was crazy. Now here we are 9 years later or something, and it's the most life-giving thing to our family to once a week separate ourselves from our work and to re-energize, rejuvenate, refocus, and come back with a new level of energy the next day or the next week or the next weekend or whatever to our work. So as I notice that as like a normal business rhythm, I kind of think like that's not really a normal family rhythm though, right? In terms of or marriage rhythm, in the sense of like, do we take intentional breaks from our family or from our marriage? you know, uh, is it true that this we can get the same benefits in our family by taking a break as we get by taking a break from our work? And so that's what I've been thinking about. And I had this experience with Dana last week now. We don't take alone trips together very often, just because it's hard to get childcare for 7 little kids. But someone volunteered to take our kids for a week, and so Dana and I took off. We went to Rhode Island and spent the week, just the two of us, doing mostly seeing lighthouses. She's really into Thomas Kincaid type stuff, so we toured a lot of lighthouses, and by air, to a helicopter ride. We took a sailboat ride and saw lighthouses on foot. And Dana loved it, and it was great for us. The business at a point now where like I left, and I didn't even blink an eye. It wasn't even a thought in my mind like I can't take off. They need me. I didn't even realize that until we got back. I'm like, this is awesome. Like the team is there was a time when that was not true, and everything was on me. And now we're at a spot in the business where I can leave, and the business continues without skipping a beat, and I don't even think twice about being away from it. I think that's great. But yeah, so my wife and I spent this time away just as our family, and just to get away alone, and it was great. We came back, we reconnected. We came back energized and new ideas and new plans for serving our family, serving our kids, and each other. It was great. Earlier this year, we did for the first time something called family camp. And our family disconnected from our physical property together and went away and went to, like how you send kids off to camp, like we go to summer camp or something like that, but it was just for the whole family. So my kids weren't in like a cabin with counselors. They were in a cabin with our whole family, all their siblings and parents, right? My older two did go to a different summer camp with like youth group and stuff, just the two of them, but this was a family camp. So our whole family got away and had a great experience where it was our family on a team with a couple other families, and our family's teams were competing against other family teams, and it was a lot of fun. You get a trophy at the end, the winning team, and lots of activities, lots of events that the whole family is doing together. And I look back on that experience and like, was that good for our family to like disconnect from our physical location and go do and take a break and go do, like, is that taking off as you would from work? Taking off from the family, separating, and what I've kind of been thinking about is that I think it's just as important for our families to take a physical break from the place where we live and go immerse ourselves in a different environment and do something different for a while and come back. Like if that works on a work and business level where it's good to take a break, good to take some rest, good to go try something different, go into a physical location, and if that is just as good for us in working, I think there's something there for the family to disconnect from our physical location, from our house, from our property, as much as we love this place, and getting out of our environment and just shaking off all the normal week-to-week chores, the week-to-week rhythms that we're used to, and doing something different. And I also think that's good for my wife and I to do together, away from the rest of the family. As the leaders of our family, it's kind of like a leadership team retreat, if you want to put it in like business language, is when my wife and I go off and the two of us reconnect, kind of align our visions again. We get to have conversations we normally don't have time for, and it's not just like work conversations anymore. It's like dating type of conversations, like how do you feel about this, and like just catching up on, like, I don't know, there's no agendas, there's no like this is hey, we got this problem we need to solve, the decision we need to make. It's just like, what's going on in your world? Like, and we try to do those catch-ups in the evenings as much as we can, which usually means it actually happens, like 2 or 3 times a week. But sometimes once a week, sometimes never, depending on the week. But so yeah, that's just my main thought is like, what does it look like for the family to take a break, for the family to stop its normal work, to stop its normal rhythms and routines, to disconnect, go to a different physical place, and just reset. We've done that together as a family this summer. We've done that as a marriage this summer. And the more I've been thinking about that, I'm like, there's a reason why we do it in work. And I think those same principles apply to family and marriage. So I'd love to hear what you guys think, what your thoughts are on this. If you have any experience this with, there's a link in the show notes here. You can leave me some voice message. And by the way, if you want to see a quick little video of my wife and I on our trip to Rhode Island, just the two of us, I haven't vlogged in a long time, like a year, 2 years maybe. I don't even know. It's been a long time. But I did shoot a little bit on our phone and just edit it to a nice little sappy, romantic song. So there's a link to that in the show notes as well. My wife's channel, Reclaiming Motherhood. So that's up over there if you want to get a little glimpse of it. But yeah, I want to hear mostly what you guys think. So click the link in the show notes to leave a voice message. And what are your thoughts and reactions to this? I'd love to hear them. So thank you guys for being a part of this community. Looking forward to reading your comments and your responses. And hopefully we won't take as long to hang out again for another Business, Family, Marriage podcast episode. I do like doing these. I have a growing list of topics I want to talk about. And here pretty soon, I'm going to have a crazy long list of topics to talk about. So we'll talk more about that soon. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys again in the next episode. Bye.